All right, Larry. Brock Purdy in 2024 ranked 28th in the NFL's top 100 list. This is a very interesting list. I like it a lot because it's voted on by the players themselves. This is how his peers view him. So after 2023, after that Super Bowl appearance, they thought he was the 28th best player in the league. That was uh, quite a compliment. This year, not in the top 100. What do you make of such a wild swing?
Well, I mean, the you're talking about a team that with Purdy, the two previous years coming into last year, went 17-4 and had a couple of deep playoff runs. One to the Super Bowl, one to the NFC Championship game with Purdy as the starter. And then last year, he was healthy most of the year, but the Niners fell to 6-11. That's last place in the division. So, I think what happened last year more than anything is, it was 1/3 of a football team on paper. I think the defense fell apart, the special teams fell apart, and then the offense eventually fell apart. Brock tried to do too much. He was running around too much. I kind of felt like Kansas City sped him up in whatever that was, week 7. And I kind of felt like the rest of the year after that, his risk reward clock was off. He was taking risks he shouldn't take. He was running more than he should run. I that's kind of what I saw. I saw a guy that tried to do too much and lost his whole risk reward thing. I mean, the pass that got them eliminated to JJ, Shanahan defended it when I asked him about it, but I mean, there was no defending that. It was a blind look to JJ who was covered, and you had 3 weapons all underneath, all with defenders behind them. They were trying to take away the deep quadrant of the field, and they were giving you the underneath. It wasn't 4th down. It wasn't 3rd down. It was 1st down, and it was that level of risk reward. His risk reward, whatever dial was just off. So he looks sharper this summer. We'll see when the pressure of the regular season starts to hit, but I think Brock's internal clock was off, and I thought he took too many chances and was too reckless with the football.
I think people overreact to young quarterbacks who have success. Brock Purdy goes, has all the success right off the bat. Oh my God, he's the 28th best player in the league, and he has one bad year, or not one bad year, but like one mortal year, and he's out of the top 100. Meanwhile, Bo Nix is 64. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I like Bo Nix, but putting Brock Purdy at 28 after like 20 starts was silly. Putting Bo Nix at 64 after 17 starts is ridiculous. Not only that, Jordan Love at 68, Sam Darnold at 72. Sam Darnold, all of a sudden, he's good because he had one good year. He's 72. Dak Prescott, 79, coming off a terrible year, and Tua at 91. So it feels like an overreaction. I'm hard on Brock Purdy, but like, what? That's too much of an overcorrection. What about Dak's awful year last year? We're not going to react to that at all? I don't know.
What about last I checked, Darnold was horrible in the playoffs. I mean, how many turnovers did he have?
72? What? Despite the rest of his entire career, he has 4 good months and he's 72. Come on, players. You got to do better. You got to do better.
I think if you asked NFL personnel people across the board, they'd rather have Brock than Prescott. They'd rather Brock than Goff. They'd rather have Brock than a lot of these guys. They'd rather have Brock than Tua. I'm just saying the majority of NFL personnel guys, if you gave them their choice of Darnold, Brock, Prescott, Goff, they probably would still take Brock.
I think so.
I do think so.
I would take Brock over Tua, and Tua's solid when he's healthy.
Yeah, when he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the big thing with him. He's not healthy all the time. So, I mean, I think Brock, we're going to have to find out. I mean, every time they go out there, you're going to find out a little bit more about their performance and about themselves. But I think Purdy has looked really sharp this camp. I think he's looked really sharp. He looked really sharp against the Raiders the other day. I think he's going to have a good year. I mean, what's going to be interesting is last year the Niners with, their weapons that were a little bit more big name were 32nd in the NFL in separation among wide receivers. Now you've changed, there's no Debo, you're not going to have Ayuk, and who knows about JJ. And yet I think Brock's going to be okay because I think he's got a group of receivers that are going to get more separation. I think you're going to see more guys open downfield than you saw last year at any point.
Mark T. Enberg says, around the league, which skill position players currently in a contract year do you think could pop off this season? Man, I'd have to
I'd
look
have
at
to
it a
look to
little
see
bit.
who's in a contract year. But
Hmm.
as far as skill position guys that I think are going to go off,
Brian Robinson Jr., baby.
Brian Robinson. Um, that's a good one. That is a good one. I'd have to really give it some thought. I could see Devontae Adams having a bounce back year for sure. You know, I mean, I don't think he's done. I just think he's been in the wrong places. So I could see him bouncing back and have a nice year. I could see Addison and Jefferson still having pretty good years in Minnesota. I think they're pretty good.
I'll have to go to overthecap.com and see who the candidates are. That's a good question. Ideas of Order says Hawks fan here. Great content. Thanks, man. You and Nemhauser should do a crossover episode where you make a bunch of friendly Hawks Niners wagers. I like streaming with Brian Nemhauser. I'm sure we will. Kyle is a doodler, says S2 Bling. LOL, my favorite little quote. Yeah, he's a play designer. All day, every day. Kim says littered with healthy all pros versus a few all pro injuries and still got paid. That's scary for Brock, for supporters. Well, Brock kicked ass the other night in Vegas. Now he was facing the Raiders, but he's pretty good, Larry.
No CMC. I mean,
he's pretty good, man.
Brock Purdy
he's so mobile. I love that about. He's really quick, man. That 10-yard split is no joke.
What I noticed more than anything last week was just that he just doesn't. He seems so much more poised and in control and calm. Like, you know, it's like the Niners offensive line was not opening holes. They were getting into third and long. They were getting dumped on first and second down. And he just dropped back to pass, and he's throwing these open passes to Pearsall and Robinson. And I don't know, he throws a very catchable ball. He seems like he knows where they're going to be. He seems like he's hooked up with Robinson and Pearsall a ton in the intermediate. He just seems real comfortable this year. I don't know if it's because their weapons have more separation or if he's got more reps in the offense, but he just seems a little bit more like harder. He seems a little bit more unflappable. Like he doesn't seem like a guy who's been sped up. He seems like a guy who's really playing at the speed he wants to play at.
Well, that's great. And I agree with that. But I think with him, it's going to come down to how he plays in the fourth quarter of close games, because that's really what makes Mahomes. And last year, it's where Purdy struggled the most. The Niners were in a bunch of close games and they only won one of them. And I'm not saying he was the reason, but the correlation was he didn't particularly play that well in the fourth quarter of those close games. He wasn't in that situation very much as in his first or second year because he was just blowing teams out, and he got credit for that. But he's going to be in close games again this year with this team, and that's where he's going to show the growth where he's at. And he can't really show that in the first quarter of a preseason game. But still, I would expect that he would do better now that he's got more experience in those situations and he's got more talent around him.
I just think the ball is going to come out a little quicker this year. I think that I don't think he's going to hold it as much. I don't think he's going to run as much. I think he's going to, you know, the old saying, you can't go broke making a profit. And I kind of feel like there's been times where if he's got a guy open short and a guy open intermediate and a guy open deep, he goes deep. You know, he will throw it deep. So this year, I think, you know, especially if they're going to utilize Guerrero, maybe there's a little bit more, you know, stuff underneath, a little bit more continuity, some longer drives. I mean, if you're going to have 8 new starters on D, if you're going to have 4, 5, or 6 rookies playing on D, you're going to have to play complementary football. You can't just score fast and put your D back out there, or have some quick 3 and out, put your D back out there. Shanahan's going to have to play call with his defense in mind, and he's going to have to protect that defense by emphasizing to Brock, take your check down. Let's have a 10-play drive. Guess what's better than a 10-play drive? A 14-play drive. And, you know, just longer drives, more methodical, move the ball down the field, keep your defense on the sidelines, protect your defense. I think they're going to have to play, you know, they're veterans and all their money, it seems like, is on the offensive side of the ball. Play complementary football and protect your defense more than they have in the past. I want to see that this year.
Jimer says our favorite team, Leeds, just won 1-0. Parag was there. Yes, I'm so excited for Leeds. That must be good for the 49ers. All day, every day. Kim says Kyle protected Brock against the Raiders. I felt an interception coming. Smith played a few series, if I'm not mistaken, and looked great. He looked okay. Still the Chip Kelly off.